Hello, everyone. We are going to talk about loneliness. We're going to eliminate loneliness today. Yeah, we're going in. Why are people lonely? People are lonely for this one big reason. I'm going to tell you that, get your pen. This is easy. People are lonely because they don't want to change who they are. People are lonely because they have invested so much in this identity that makes them lonely that they don't want to give it up. What do you mean? Like be somebody else? Yeah. Do you like the way your life is going? I mean, not really. I wish I was a lot happier. I mean, I wish I wasn't lonely. But you have invested so much into this identity that's not giving you anything in return. So if you want to destroy loneliness, if you want to get rid of it, I can give you one piece of advice. And I know you're not going to hear this. Well, it depends on where you are, but you've got to change everything. Yeah. You want a husband, you want the wife, you want a whole new life, but you don't want to change you. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me. You want a whole new life, but you want to walk into that new life with being the same person that you. It doesn't work that way, darling. Broski. I wish I could say that everything you've worked towards being right now is going to give you access to the next level in your life. It is not. The next level requires a new you. Loneliness can be destroyed by realizing that I am the one that refuses to change. Instead of changing, you know what we do, ladies and gentlemen? You know what we do here in the Western, and I can only speak for the Western world. You know what we do for loneliness? You know what our cure for loneliness in America is? Instead of being a better person, instead of fixing our shit, you know what we do? We go buy a dog. We go buy a cat. And we make the dog and the cat sit there and go through our misery with us. You know why we do that? We know that any human being rational enough is not going to sit there and watch us deal with us not being happy. So we get a dog and a cat and a fish and plants who are complacent with you being lonely and sad and not willing to change. So you know what you do? You get the cheap, instead of not being lonely, you get the cheap discounted pet. I love animals, by the way. Grew up with animals. Grew up on a farm too. Love animals. But we've taken animals and we've used them as a coping mechanism for just not doing the work. You know, if I get this dog or this cat, he loves me and she loves me just the way I am. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to be better. I don't have to take a shower. I don't have to lose weight. I don't have to comb my hair. I don't have to do anything because this cat or dog or whatever will love me just the way I am. And how sad and sickening that should be to you as a human being that you've settled. Forget working on myself so I can have access to humans and wonderful activities. Forget all that stuff. No. I'll just buy a pet. I'll just get a pet who doesn't talk, who doesn't have any emotional awareness other than it knows it's a... Oh, man. We can do better. We can do better. Loneliness comes from the refusal to let go of the identity that you've created. Someone wants to love you. Someone is out there waiting for you to let the bullshit go. Let the dog go, the cat go, and just work on yourself. Someone is waiting to love you. But you've got to stop pretending. You've got to get rid of the crutches and say, I am worth figuring it out. Loneliness comes from the refusal to change. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the ability to change. You don't have to be lonely. I don't want you to be lonely. The universe doesn't want. We don't need lonely people. We need happy people, right? What a joy it is to be alive. What a joy it is to be a part of humanity. What a joy. And how sad that is that we use little things and moments to say, well, I mean, I guess nobody loves me. I guess nobody likes me. I guess nobody wants me around. No, John, no, Susan, they don't want you around like this. They don't want you around sad. They don't want you around depressed. They want you to go and work on yourself. Instead of buying the cat and the dog as a emotional support, you need the emotional support because your mind knows that this isn't healthy. So you need something around you to coddle your complacency, your I don't give a damn attitude. You need the emotional support because of that, not because people are lonely because there's no self-satisfaction. You deep inside know that you can do better. You know it. And the loneliness comes from the disillusion of this is how it is. The disillusionment between, you know what? I mean, all I can get is a cat or a dog. No, you don't have to be lonely. You're choosing to be lonely. You're choosing not to do the work. You're choosing not to go, not to go to the gym. You're choosing not sleeping right. What your loneliness is by choice. People want to love people, healthy people, emotionally available people, disciplined people, people who are loving, people who are caring. There's room for that. But you know what we do? We use that excuse that nobody wants to hang around with you. Nobody wants to be with you. It's hard to find friends. No, it's hard to find friends when you're freaking toxic. When the world is trying to heal and you're bringing toxic energy, it's hard for people to connect with you. You want to know why you're lonely? Maybe because you're toxic. Maybe. Is it worth figuring it out? Or do you buy another dog and cat and say, screw it? Loneliness is because we refuse to do the work. Refuse to say, I don't like this. I don't like this identity. Who I am makes me lonely. Who I am, nobody wants to come around. What if I told you I could give you one thing that could change everything? One thing. I'll give it to you right now. The moment you change everything, everything changes. You want to get rid of loneliness? Change everything. Everything. And the scary part about this is that you're too damn invested in what makes you miserable to say, I wave the flag. How is it that you are lonely and refuse to change the loneliness at the same time? Who you are is making you lonely. Do you see it? Do you see it's not the world? Do you see it's not every man or woman that you've ever encountered? Do you see it's not the politicians? Do you see it's not your mother? Do you see it's not your father? Do you see that the reason why I am lonely is because I refuse to change who I am so I can get a different result? Do you see it? Or do you just make more excuses on why the world isn't nice to you? Why you're lonely, why this girl isn't good enough, why this guy can't be found? Or are you spending the time working on yourself, improving yourself, not compensating, not replacing the work with low-level energy frequencies like plants and animals? They have frequencies, they're just not high as humans. See, humans are not going to tolerate your bullshit, so you get more animals and plants. They're not going to tell you to, they're not even going to, this is so good. Animals don't hold you accountable. You know why people love animals in their house, especially when they don't want to do the work? it doesn't hold them accountable. The cat doesn't give a damn how much you weigh. The cat doesn't care how emotionally unavailable you are. The cat doesn't care. So you know what? Let's get 3 or 4 of those cats so I can really feel the love. Let's get 4 or 5 dogs in here so I can really get that masculine energy I'm looking for. So instead of working on ourselves, right? So we can love ourselves, so other people can love on us. The reason why we're lonely is we haven't even fell back in love with ourselves. And I know the people that are narcissists are going to love this part. Be in love with yourself. Love yourself. Don't be in love with yourself. Here's why I say don't be in love. There comes the attachment. There comes the narcissism. Because now, watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This is so good. When you are in love with yourself, you've put yourself on a pedestal. So now everybody else needs to come into the relationship and look up to you. So, yeah, you need to love yourself. But when you're in love with yourself, then narcissism can come in. Because you're so in love with yourself. And I want you to watch this, ladies and gentlemen. You're so in love with yourself that there's no room in your car for nobody else. You want to know why you're lonely? You love yourself too much. You're in love with yourself. You don't just... There's one thing to have self-love and to love thyself. But when you're infatuated with who you are, when you're infatuated, when there's no room, your ego is so big. Ain't nobody in your life. Listen, you're lonely because nobody can fit in the car with your ego. You're lonely because can't nobody sit in the house with your ego. You're past loving yourself. You're addicted to yourself. You're addicted to being alone. You're addicted to loneliness. You pride yourself in being alone. And then you have the, I wonder why I'm lonely. I wonder why. Your ego is so big. No one's going to deal with that besides a pet. Besides your ego, you're lonely because your ego is so big. The only low-level energy thing that's going to stick around are animals and plants, because that's the only thing that can tolerate that kind of energy, that kind of what do you call it, the reality TV energy. Check your ego. Loneliness and ego are right there. They're like cousins. If you want to know why you're lonely, it's probably because your ego is so big nobody else can fit around. Right? No one else can fit. You have so many degrees. You have so many accolades. Your head is so big, it can't even get in the room. No wonder you're lonely. You've put yourself so high that no one's even... You make sure you're unrelatable. You make sure of it. You want to put yourself so far, watch this, and isolate yourself to where no one can even relate to you. You're just like, I'm on a whole nother level. You did it on purpose. People ostracize themselves. When you're emotionally unavailable, you do little things. You do little mental tricks like that, right? You become so smart that not a lot of people can reach that. And there's a certain beauty in there. But there's also, because I'm really smart, there's also a certain level of isolation that we get to have. Because we know not everyone's that smart and everyone's not going to go there. So what we end up doing, we don't even know we're doing it. But we've put ourselves in this little isolation. I'm a PhD, I'm an MBA, I'm a doctor, I'm this and I'm that. And then now you walk around with your ID and badge and your label, and no one's good enough to be in my circle. And now your nose is up and you're lonely. Oh, you're accomplished and lonely. You're degreed up and lonely. You have so many accolades they can't even fit in one room, but you're lonely because that material success does not translate to emotional success. I wish it did. I wish that every CEO who did a big deal at the job could go home and that roll over to his 15-year-old daughter, his 15-year-old son, his wife, his kids. I wish that could roll. It doesn't. They don't care that mom and dad have a PhD. They want to know if you're emotionally available. The loneliness comes from people not doing the work. So no matter how far we get in life, no matter how prestigious we become, we still can be lonely. And the ability to see that we've created this loneliness by the unwillingness to change, the refusal to change, as if somehow you're better and you've arrived. And everyone else, the reason why you're lonely is because everyone else needs to come up to you. Who wants to sit in a room? Who wants to be on the phone? Who wants to deal with someone with that energy? Where everyone needs to perform to be around you. Nobody wants that. Be humble, blessed, nice, kind. People want to be around that. You want to know who isn't lonely? The nice person, the nice people, the happy people, the joyous people, the grateful people. They're not lonely. They're not lonely at all. No, because guess what? Other people are joining them. You want to know why you're lonely? Because other people are joining you in your loneliness and your misery. Look around, and most of your friends who are lonely, I guarantee you all are saying the same stuff, right? We're lonely. We can't do this. We can't, right? So, acknowledge your loneliness can be eliminated by acknowledging your unwillingness to change. I'm going to say that again. Loneliness can be destroyed by the simple realization of your unwillingness to change. So if you don't want to be lonely, if you don't want to experience loneliness, be in love with change. Be excited about change. Change in yourself, change in other people, the way life changes. And your loneliness will evaporate because you'll see the connectedness, the joy that everyone else around you has as well. Until next time, it is my wish and my blessing that you find peace, that you find joy, and that your soul be complete. Until next time, namaste. This has been another Spiritual Talk with Gerald. Follow us on Apple. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Donate. All of this stuff. Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. Apple. Follow us. We're even on Audible as well. Amazon Podcast. So I hope that you guys spend some time self-reflecting so you don't have to be lonely, and you can eliminate and destroy loneliness by welcoming the newness and the beauty of change. Until next time, namaste.